the photogrammetry, it actually creates a
Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening, everyone.
Oga, good evening. Okay.
Okay. Oh, okay. So, you're welcome to today's webinar. My name is Nzoka Emeka Michael, and I'll be the person taking you guys throughout the whole webinar for today. So today's webinar is going to be on OSINT, which is open source intelligence. Hello? Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Yes, we do.
Somebody's muting me. Hello?
We can hear you, boss.
Somebody mutes me. Somebody's muting me.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. Good evening to everyone, and welcome to the webinar on today's episode of CYSEC Alerts. I want to welcome most of us who already are here, and I don't know if any of us attended the previous webinar we held last month. Is there any one of us here that attended the previous webinar of last month? Hello?
No, I wasn't here.
Okay. Last month's webinar, we're talking about cybercrime and technology misuse. And I want to welcome again everyone that is already here. And this is another amazing episode of CYSEC Alerts, which is titled OSINT, and OSINT will mean open source intelligence. And we have an amazing co-host who will be talking to us on this particular topic. And this is a particular field he has been on for a long time. And why we set the ball rolling, or why we talk about that, I really want to introduce CYSEC NG for many of us who are just still new into the platform. So CYSEC NG, which means Cybersecurity Challenge Nigeria, is a top company that focuses on connecting Nigeria's biggest and brightest
camera now.
I would like us to have our mics mute. Thank you. The CYSEC NG, Cybersecurity Challenge. All right, so cybersecurity, or CYSEC NG, which we mean Cybersecurity Challenge Nigeria, is a top-notch company that is focused on bringing together Nigerian biggest and brightest youths and meeting them with the necessary opportunities in the cyberspace. So we're most concerned about making every aspect of people who are interested into cybersecurity to connect them into the opportunity out there in the market. So we also do trainings on cybersecurity, we do penetration testing, we do a bunch of other things relating to cybersecurity, incident response, digital forensics, and what have you. So today is another amazing seminar, and we hold every month, called CYSEC Alerts. We're here with another episode of that. And this November, I want to talk about OSINT, open source intelligence. And with me here is Mr. Emeka, and he will be taking us as our co-host here on that particular topic. Thank you so much for those of us who are here. And while we wait and have our jotting resources, and of course, for the video is already been on record. So most of us, by the end of the webinar, we're all going to be having a copy of it. So while we prepare for this, I would like to call on Mr. Emeka up to the stage to have us on this particular webinar. Mr. Emeka, if you are up, you could indicate.
Yes, I'm up. I'm up. Thank you.
Okay, all right. So I think you have the ability to share your screen. You could do that. Thank you for honoring our invitation. All right, so while we wait for our co-host to be up, seems he might be having a little bit of network issue. I would like to, of course, welcome everyone again, because I see our numbers are increasing. And at this level, I would really like to give a new briefing of what OSINT is and open source intelligence. Okay, so by the end of this particular series, I'll be actually making a little display of a video which shows what level of information we leave out there could make us, in fact, really vulnerable. So OSINT itself, because for most of us who are or who were available for the previous webinar, we understand where I mentioned that cybersecurity is a two-edged sword. And this also applies to OSINT. There are different fields in cybersecurity that could be used the right way and can also be used in the wrong way. OSINT in itself can be used in tracing or be used during threat intelligence. And threat intelligence, I mean, in carrying out investigations, whereby crimes and people can be investigated. Many people have had issues with having been defrauded. And with little information like probably a username, probably a mail or a phone number, we could begin an OSINT challenge, which can link us and make us pinpoint information from just that little entity to a more bigger entity. More like, imagine having just an image of a person without any other clue, a random image of probably taken during a crime occurrence. And that image, you can be able to interpret that image to get information of names, phone numbers, mails, location, even passport IDs and travel license from just an image gotten off the internet randomly. So there are extreme levels of what one can do with OSINT. Now imagine this information being used in the wrong perspective. It could be used to carry out fraud or impersonation as well. So most likely we'll be treating that. I don't know if my co-host is still up yet. Okay, with that being said, since our numbers have increased a bit, I'd really like to see ask how many of us were in the previous webinar, and I want to know what our reactions are and probably what you gained from the previous webinar. You could unmute yourself if you were there, and please feel free to express your thoughts on that.
Hello, Mr. Precious.
Yes, I'm with you.
Yeah, this is Emeka.
Okay.
So, please, I'm actually facing some slight challenge, some technical challenges with regards to my system. So I don't really know if I could maybe explain the concept of OSINT right from here.
Okay, you can do that, but do you have a slide? Is your slide available?
That's where the challenge is. I would have loved to maybe show you the slides, but I'm still trying to work on it. But irrespective, I just want to maybe be utilizing the time as we are going, so I could still be hitting up. So once I'm able to work on it, or my colleague here is trying to help me work on it, once it's done, I would show you people the slides. Hope you don't mind. And maybe the demo I have. The demo I have.
All right, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine then. The stage is yours then. Go ahead.
Okay. So concerning OSINT, OSINT means open source intelligence. Now, I would break down those words and try to maybe demystify what I actually mean by open source intelligence. Now, from the term open, it means the access to the data is very, very open. There is no, there are usually little or no restrictions to getting the data. That's one. Then concerning the source too, they are enormous. They are very, very enormous source that you can get most of the data of what you're doing and the rest of them. Then intelligence in that sense. Now, intelligence actually means that the information is actionable. You can use the information to attain something you want to attain, or maybe what you want to do at the end of the day by using the information. Now, there's a difference between there's a difference between an information and then intelligence. From some movies that we might have seen, let's say some American movies and some other things that we might have seen, we would have encountered where they have the CIA, they have some units in the military that gather intelligence. They call it intelligence. Now, basically what that means is this: they could gather information about any person or any person that they want to, basically by just, let's say, a click on their computer and the rest of them. Now, the difference between that and information is that if I give an information to somebody, the person might not really know what to do with it, in the sense that I could just tell you that my email is this. That is just a piece of information, you understand? But it becomes intelligent if I can use that my email to get other things about this person. So I could use the email to harvest information about where the person works. I could use the email to harvest information about where the person lives, the last person the person contacted. I could use the information to get the location of the person. Yeah, that's when it now becomes intelligent. So there's a difference in that sense, or in that sphere. You have the information and you have the intelligence. You understand? So I don't know if I'm actually making sense. So in the context of it, an open source intelligence is just a form of information gathering. You are gathering information for what you are doing, but you are using that information to understand the way the person behaves. You understand? That is basically what open source intelligence is. Now, there are some things you need to know or you need to put into consideration whenever you're gathering, whenever you're running an OSINT investigation. You need to have a digital artifact of the person or the organization you're trying to run that open source intelligence on. Now, a digital artifact I mean is it could be the person's phone number, it could be the person's email, it could be the person's picture, it could be as little as the person's tweet. You understand? Like a tweet that the person made online. It can be used to gather information about that thing. So there are different and varying kind of tools that you can use. And the reason, the cause of this, or the reason for this, is because people that visit the internet always leave footprints. Everybody that visits the internet leaves footprints of where they have visited, no matter where you visit. So those footprints can be traced, and then they connect the dots of all those footprints to get what this person is actually doing. Now, for you to be to be successful in an OSINT investigation, you need to be good at your discretion. You need to be okay up there, in the sense that you can connect 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things together, and at the end of the day, you are able to come up with something or a report that makes sense. You understand? So OpenSynth investigation can be used in different ways. There are 2 forms of it. You can use it offensively, or you can use it defensively. Now, in the offensive sense, that's where you have hackers and threat actors. How do they use OSINT offensively? They could gather information about somebody. Now, the difference between Mr. Emeka works with this company, and Mr. Emeka is the account manager of this company. There's a very huge difference between those 2 information. Now, if somebody knows that I'm the account manager of this company, that person can utilize that information and maybe send me an email, a phishing email, maybe to lure me to put in some other details that he can use it to his own advantage. Those are the differences. Like, that's when it comes to the attacking side. Now, for the defensive side of OSINT, you could OSINT yourself, understand the amount of information you have out there, the amount of sensitive information you have out there, so as to prevent attacks to get to OSINT your company's structure or the infrastructure of your company. Then you use that information you have gathered, you use it to, okay, you understand that I have this amount of information outside. These informations are sensitive to me or to my organization, so I need to take them down. I need to maybe go to the privacy settings and see how I can bring down this information. You understand? So that is how you use OSINT defensively. Now, in the context of this, in the context of CYSEC.ng, we are going to be using OSINT defensively. I don't know if can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. So in the context of this, we are going to be using OSINT defensively. Apologies, please. My system, the guy is actually helping me to still work on my system. Now, there's a particular place or there's a particular website that I usually go to, like my first point of call anytime I'm trying to maybe run an OSINT investigation. And now that website is you can take notes. It's osintframework.com. osintframework.com. That is a website I usually visit. Now that website has a lot. It's like a compendium of every OSINT tool, you can find on the internet or on the web, on the internet. You find a lot of them there. There is Truecaller. People don't actually know that Truecaller is more or less like an OSINT tool. Why? Because somebody calls you via Truecaller. Sorry, somebody calls you and you don't know that person's number or you don't know who that person is. You take the person's phone number and then put it in Truecaller so as to reveal the person's name. You understand? Now, the way most of those tools work is like this. They pull data from a lot of resources, like they pull data from a lot of resources. I was going through an OSINT tool recently by name Phone Infoga. Now, Phone Infoga is an OSINT tool used for phone numbers. They use it for phone numbers to maybe investigate a phone number, investigate if a phone number is actually carrying out fraudulent behaviors on the internet, and also investigate the people that are trying to investigate those numbers. You understand? Yeah, I was going through that too. And then I noticed that the tool works by gathering a lot of information from different resources. You could gather from freesmscode.com, gather from Twilio. There are a lot, like they are enormous. So basically, whenever you just query a phone number, the next thing, it begins to pull information from everywhere that the person has visited. And there's a very strong chance that you that has that phone number might have visited a particular website, or maybe you must have used it for something else. You understand? Another tool, again, that we are also conversant with, but we don't really know how to use it as an OSINT tool, is Google. In the aspect of hacking, or in the aspect of cybersecurity, there is a topic, or there is a section of it that is known as Google Doxing. Now, I would have loved to show you this, but I'm still having this challenge. But Google Doxing is basically using the Google platform to gather information about things, or to gather information about people. You understand? Now, there are some ways you could query the Google search engine and you would gather information that are not normally exposed on the internet. There are ways you could query by using some flags. You can query the Google search engine, and you'll be able to get information about, okay, this file about this company is exposed. You understand? You could gather even their security details. You understand? There was one time I was trying to maybe observe a tutorial. Now, the tutorial, they were gathering information about a company, and they stumbled upon the security report, or the vulnerability report of that company. Now, if that kind of document falls into a threat actor's hands, the threat actor would understand how to exploit that company by getting to know that, okay, these things are security flaws. These are the security flaws this company is most likely facing. So the threat actor needs to just maybe do some more research about those vulnerability and exploit the company in that aspect. Recently too, I was also trying to maybe investigate an organization in this country here, but I don't want to maybe let it out because of, I don't know. So I was trying to investigate, and then I realized that some of the software that they are using to run their servers is like since 2018. That means it is kind of a long time ago. Now, if somebody wanted to exploit that vulnerability, they just have to maybe search some things about those softwares or those technologies used to run their servers, and then they'll be using it to exploit that web, or sorry, those servers. Hello. They'll be using it to exploit those things. Yeah, from what you can see here, okay, my colleague is sharing his screen now. This is osintframework.com. Now, just like I said, it's like a catalog. It has a catalog of a lot of tools. Now, these are a lot of tools where things that you can use. From here, you could see the domain blacklist. You could see typo squatting, analytics, URL expander, change detection, social analysis, and the rest of them. There's even geolocation. You could maybe OSINT an IP address and then geolocate where the IP address is. There is even some for blacklist, the kind of IP address that have been blacklisted, network analysis tool, wireless network infos. I think if you click, please, sir, could you click on wireless network infos? I think you'll find a tool known as Wigo. No. It's under IP address. It's a subsection of IP address. So click on wireless network info. Yeah, there's Wigo. Now, Wiggle. Now, Wiggle is a tool. I've been trying to understand how Wiggle works. Now, Wiggle is a tool that you could use to geolocate somebody that might not even be connected to a network. Now, basically, what I understood from this platform is Wiggle works by every wireless, every Wi-Fi you connect to, there are some apps in your phone that are interacting with Wiggle that sends all the information of the Wi-Fi you connect to Wiggle. So Wiggle stores those information. It keeps them like it's like a database. It has a database of all of them, and it kind of have the location of them. So somebody could actually locate you by trying to access the amount of Wi-Fi you have visited or the amount of
sorry
Wi-Fi.
to cut you short, sir. You can as well send your slide to us so that I can help you display it from over here.
Okay, sir. Okay, let me see to that, but let me just continue as we're going. Hello, can everybody hear me?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. As I was saying, I said with regards to the Wiggle, you could it queries, it gains access to places that you have visited. Like it has most of their information in your computer. Then there are also some tools. There are also some tools I wanted to talk about. So please, could you go to net? Could you like open another tab? Could you open another tab, sir? And then click on who is lookup, or sorry, on the URL, you could click on whois.domain2.com. Yeah. Whois.domain2.com. Okay, now this tool or this website, there's a way it works. Now, let's say I'm trying to maybe find out the amount of information we have that is out there, in the sense that I'm trying to maybe, for my domain name, I created a website. I want to know the amount of information I have outside. You could just maybe put in the name of your website into the search bar. Now, when you put in the name of the website into the search bar, it brings out every information that was used around that website. Like every information, I could use this web to get information about somebody that built a website. I could use it to get the person's email that builds the website. I could use it to get the phone number of the person that builds the website. Now, all these things are just regular information, like they are regular, but you could still go further by using those same information you have gathered to gather who is the friend of this person that built this website. I could get the friend's email of that person that builds this website, and then I could send an email from claiming to be that friend to this person. When I send it to this person, the person would think that, oh, he's my friend. And then the person opens the email, not really knowing that that email maybe has a backdoor, or it's actually a phishing email and the rest of them. And when the person clicks the link, boom, the person is hooked. You understand? So information gathering is a very, very sensitive thing. Like it's very, very sensitive in terms of the amount of information we have out there. And the funny thing is the internet is constantly gathering information about us. Like it's constantly. Sometimes you go to Instagram, you notice that you just maybe look at a shoe,
on Instagram. And then the next minute, you are seeing adverts everywhere on your full phone about shoes. And you are wondering like, what is happening? You understand? Those things are basically sense of information gathering. Like there is actually a system that is gathering information about you constantly. So every time it gathers information about you, it utilizes that information and sends you calculated adverts on those things. Now, I also said I was going to maybe talk about some of the benefits of these things, some of the benefits or some areas where you could benefit on information gathering. Now, an example is bulk bounty platforms. I think from next month, TryHackMe is a cybersecurity training platform where you could learn cybersecurity and some other kind of things. They are launching a program with regards to bulk bounty. It's more or less like a friendly and beginner CTF, like kind of capture the flag, and they are giving off like $15,000 and stuff like that. That's their worth of price. Now, basically, for you to maybe start off as a bulk bounty person, or for you to maybe play CTF, you need to also understand a little bit of information gathering. You need to understand how to gather information about things, about people. You understand? So you need to gather information about systems. Okay, I know I'm gathering this information about this system, and I know that if this system was written with this particular kind of language, let's say the client-side language that was written in was JavaScript, and then the server-side language is PHP. Now, because of that, if it is PHP, that's a server-side language. If I'm creating a payload that is going to work on the server, I need to make it a PHP script. Like I need to make it a PHP language so that it could work on the server. And then if I'm writing a payload too, that is suppose I want it to work on the people that will visit that website, I need to write it on JavaScript. Like I need to maybe create that payload to be a JavaScript file. Yeah, I think that would be it. So basically, some of the benefits of it is you could maybe gather information about things or about people that you want to gather. Then from there, you could run ads. There are a lot of media. I think there are some media companies that use OSINT to run their ads. Like they use OSINT to gather information about, okay, this person and the rest of them, and then they use it to run the adverts that they want to do. You understand? They begin to, okay, recently I encountered a tool that you could use to gather tweets of somebody. You could gather the tweets of the person. You could even gather the followers of the person. You could know, okay, these are the followers that the person follows. Then from there, you could maybe make a judgment of what the person is actually likes and the rest of them. So some media companies use OSINT tools to help them promote sales by running calculated ads or targeted ads. Let me put it out here, targeted ads to some persons, believing that, okay, this person would actually need these aspects. Then in bulk bounty platforms, let's say you want to maybe you want to check out a website, you want to find out the vulnerabilities of a website. Although they call those one reconnaissance, is more or less like it's OSINT, it's still gathering information, but you're gathering information now to understand the system and to gather vulnerabilities. So to know the vulnerabilities of that website, you go to the website. There are some websites that like WordPress websites, and there are a lot of WordPress websites. And then there are some tools that you could use to maybe check the vulnerabilities of those websites. So from there, you could report that vulnerability. And at the end of the day, people pay you for reporting the vulnerability for them. That's as a white hat. You understand? So there's also another website I would like you to go to, sir. Please, could you visit toolbar.netcraft.com? toolbar.netcraft.com. Yeah. Yeah. Now, this is also another website where you could understand the amount of information your website can have out there. Yeah, this website. Oh, okay. Please inform the URL, which is toolbar.netcraft.com/. site reports. Could you just write site reports, site_report? Please don't forget the toolbar. The toolbar is like a subdomain. Okay, now in the front of site report, sorry, go back. In the front of site report, put a question mark. So it would query, yeah, okay, thank you very much. Thank you. So this is a website. I don't know if we're permitted to run maybe some OSINT with some website, because I don't want it to look like we are invading people's privacy and discussing some of their weaknesses online. You understand? But this is the website where you could gather information about other websites, like gather information about them. You get their information from there. You make a good, a calculated decision around the information you just gathered. You gather information about, okay, the kind of technology that they are using on their server side. You gather information about the kind of technology they're using on their client side. So when you gather all this information, you could use it to exploit that website, you understand? Or you could use it in a defensive way to understand that, oh, this website might be vulnerable to this kind of attack. Let's patch this attack and the rest of them. So some other resources, but the best of resources I think I would suggest for every person that wants to maybe start off any OSINT is maybe using OSINT frameworks. Although it didn't cover everywhere, it didn't cover all the tools. There's still some other tools. There are a lot of tools, like there's Spiderfoot, there is the Harvester, there is Recon.ng. There are a lot of tools that you can use. So depending on what you want to achieve, you use these different tools to achieve what you want to achieve. But this one is going to give you it's like a compendium of the amount of tools that you can use to get what you want to get, or get to the point where you want to get. So these are basically some things that you need to know. And then another thing again is sometimes people add us on Instagram and we don't really know who this person is. Now there are ways you can OSINT that picture, and then you get to find out that, oh, this person is from this place, or stuff like that. There's one time too, I was trying to maybe reverse an image, trying to maybe pull everywhere that I can find the image. And I used Yandex. Yeah, it was Yandex. It was Yandex I used to achieve that. Although you could use Bing, you could use DuckDuckGo, you could use even Google Image, but most of these other search engines are not really that good. But I think Yandex is good when it comes to image search. Another one again that is good at Bing, so is also good. So basically, I was able to gather information about using that picture. That picture was able to map everywhere that person could be, and there are AI technologies that you could use to check the person's face. So when you check the person's face, and I got to understand that, oh, the person is not what the person is claiming on social media is not really what the person is outside social media. You understand? So that's also another good way of using OSINT. So there are offensive ways of using this thing, and then there are defensive ways of using it. That is one thing that cybersecurity does to you. Cybersecurity helps you to understand offense and defense. Like you need to understand how to fight war and also understand how to defend from war. You understand? So using these two from both sides of the coin is good. And yeah, I think that's what I have to say. So I don't really know if there's anybody that has questions that they want to ask with regard to this topic, so I don't have to use my whole 1 hour. You could use the remaining 15 minutes to ask questions and answer questions. Thank you very much. My name is Michael.
All right, so thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mikey. That was a wonderful one. I don't know if we have any questions so far from what he has explained so far. You can indicate by using the hands up icon on your platform, and you can unmute your mic as well to make your questions. and you can drop them in the chat box as well. Okay, there's a question from Mr. Boniface. Do you want to ask a question? Mr. Boniface, you can unmute your mic if you want to ask a question.
Okay, good evening. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Boniface.
Yes, we can hear you very clearly.
Yeah, please, I want to ask if like carrying out this OSINT, can it be termed illegal if you do it for a particular organization without their consent? Not a particular organization or different organizations. Can it be termed illegal?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm permitted to answer that question, because all right, so in the concept of ethical hacking, we use the term ethical hacking, and even OSINT, open source intelligence, is a form of ethical hacking, or it's also a subset of ethical hacking. And the whole concept of cybersecurity, cybersecurity is basically aimed at detecting, protecting, and defensive measures. So carrying out things like searching or carrying out OSINT on organization without a permission is not ethical at all. There are countries like Germany and some other countries that is a top crime for you to carry out some level of scans, just scans on websites or organizations without them giving you permission. This could actually make them to file a case on you. So depending on the level of information you're looking for, it's always good to be on the safer side.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know if my co-host has something else to add to that.
Okay, hello. Can you hear me?
All right, we can hear you.
Mr. Boniface, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, so with regards to what he said about the legality of it, just like the host said, he said for you to run an OSINT, you need to understand the context at which you're doing the OSINT. Now, sometimes you might want to run OSINT in, let's say, to detect the problem of a system, or maybe to understand the amount of information that is accessible by any other person. Now, by doing that, there'll be need for you to seek consent for that system. You understand? So in that sense, it's an ethical way of carrying out OSINT on a system. You understand now? It's not really right for you to just maybe OSINT any organization without maybe their consent. Some organizations actually term it illegal. So that's basically what I have to say. I think Mr. Precious has actually said everything, you understand, with regards to that question. Thank you very much.
I don't know if you're able to answer a question, Mr. Boniface. Okay. Do we have any other questions?
So, any other question?
Mr. Mohammed, you have a question? Okay, so in the absence of no question for now, I want to really mention, still in reference to what we just talked about, permissions, and my co-host talked about the fact that OSINT has its own bad side, and it can be used offensively, of course, and it can be used defensively. But let's don't forget that the whole aspect of cybersecurity is just mainly solely aimed at even protecting, and even the aspect of ethical hacking is still solely aimed at protecting. So that being said, I would like to show us a video of how far an OSINT can be used, and I'll be sharing this to us in just a few seconds.
Serena, yeah, you got your bag. When you feel for graduation. Good morning, guys. Guess what it is? It's my birthday. Where are these stripes coming from?
All right, so with the video I just displayed for us now, we can see how OSINT can be used in a rather offensive way. And you can see that mostly what we post on the social media actually plays a lot of major roles to how much vulnerable it can be. Now there's a aspect of the topic called doxing. There's a topic called doxing. And in doxing, we basically carry out more like hacking your own self. It's preferable we use the word, you should hack your own self. But it's necessary sometimes we carry out OSINT challenges on ourselves or OSINT research on ourselves to know how much vulnerable or how much information we have out there to the general public. Let's don't forget that as basic as having an image can link us to beloved stores. And my co-host actually mentioned that I've happened to make use of several image search to carry out things like reverse image search. He mentioned very good resources like the Yandex. I personally, for one, use Teen Eyes and Pim Eyes, of course. And this reverse image tool can give you query images around the whole social media accounts, not just social media accounts, all the whole websites generally to see if they are matching facial recognition of the image you survey. So a lot of things can be done with OSINT, and no matter how tiny information you have spread out to different platforms, different organizations, social media, online platforms, all of this information have a way of being linked together when a proper OSINT is being carried out on an individual. All right, so with that being said, I think we still have some people who want to ask questions, and you could unmute yourself and ask a question.
Good evening, Mr. Michael, and good evening, Mr. Prosper. Hello, can
Yeah,
you
good
hear me?
evening. Yeah, we can hear you. Good evening.
I have two questions basically. The first question I want to ask is that regarding the OSET, if, for example, I'm trying to check through a website, will the person information that I'm trying to get, will he be informed through any means that I'm actually checking his website? That is the first one. And the second question actually is like, in in what way, like, can we not term this as a clear invading of one's privacy?
Hello, sir.
Mama, don't let me sell you out.
Hello, sir. Can you
Do
hear
you
me? Hello, sir.
Hello.
Okay, I can hear you.
Okay. Mr. Precious, do you want to maybe say anything with regards to the question?
Oh, okay. Generally, I would say in the aspect of, because my co-host, Mr. Maker, mentioned something about reconnaissance. And in the concept of reconnaissance, there's also the footprinting. We have the active and the passive. So generally, basically what we're doing in OSINT is more like a passive form of reconnaissance, because informations we get are publicly available. So in passive, you're actually gathering information from publicly available systems, Google, social media, places you've posted your pictures. Would say you tamper privacy when you carry out or you gather too much information. Let's not forget that cyber stalking is a crime. And in some organizations, or even some countries, they don't take it lightly. When you gather a lot of information about a person, you can be termed as cyber stalking, and this can be used against you. So now this depends on the level of information or what you are actually aiming for. If you probably want to carry out OSINT challenges or as a medium to build yourself on OSINT, there are platforms out there that you could use to build your skills on OSINT. But doing this at random people without their consent, I would say there's a level of how you can do it that becomes cyber stalking, and that is a crime already. I don't know, Mr. Rika, do you have something else to say to that? I'm
Yeah.
not sure I really get the first question as well.
The second question was, he said, how can we not term this invasion of privacy? You understand? So I presume the person that asked the question, I can't really pick your name, but now basically, what I think with regards to this question is this: in terms of gathering information, a lot of people's information are available out there. Like, a lot of information are just there. Even by you looking at somebody's Instagram page, you can say some things about the person if you can judge. There are some places you see where somebody takes a picture and you can tell that, okay, this person is in this location or something. Those things too are form. They are like passive form of trying to gather information about that person. You understand? Now, if you now go an extent, or if you go a mile in with regards to gathering this information, and then using that information to cause harm to that person, that is where the problem is. And as cybersecurity, they don't maybe support some things like that. You understand? So it becomes offensive, or it becomes bad when you use those information to do things that are not supposed to be done. You understand? Just like I said, you can OSINT in a defensive way. You can OSINT to understand, okay, this is what I have out there. You understand? Even there are some companies that OSINT their staff. I think so. Like some companies, before they employ people, they would have to go and look for some tweets that those people have talked about, or maybe some things that they have tweeted in the past. You understand? They would just look out for all those things. And those things might just be little things, but they might just use those things to disqualify the person. You understand? So it still happens that way. It's just to maybe keep everybody in check. Like, I'm not using this information that I'm gathering about you to maybe do you harm, because definitely till tomorrow people will still be putting out information out there. Like, you might most likely upload your picture on your status. That is a whole lot of information. There was one this thing I was watching one time. that somebody used a picture to get the location of where that picture was taken. As in, it was that this thing. Like he used the picture. The picture, there was no location. There was not. The picture was taken from a camera, and then from that camera, the person was able to. Sorry, from the upload of that picture, the person was able to get the location where that person was taken. Where that picture was taken, he found out the metadata of that picture. He gathered a lot of information just from
Yeah,
just
the
one
metadata,
single
the
picture.
landmarks and stuff.
So you got the landmark ahead. From there, you could get the landmark, you get the geographical location, you get the longitude and latitude. From there, you can take it to another platform and you will get where the picture was taken, an approximate 5% of distance at where the picture was taken. So there are a lot of things to this. So it just depends on how you use the skill. There are some persons that can use the skill to maybe pitch to an organization. You could just take this skill, you gather information about an organization, tell them that, oh, these are the information you gather about them. These things, you tell them about those things you've actually seen. So it depends on how you're using it, basically. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's an amazing one. Thank you so much. So we can see that people continue to post things online, and like this video we just watched, it was just everything, every information that was gotten was pictures and documents and files she posted herself. So this information could be used in the wrong way, but you can't stop people from posting. But whatever OSINT you are carrying out on a person, just make sure you don't use it on the wrong way. In form of impersonation, in form of threats or ransom and stuff. People use this information the wrong way. So like you said, you can't stop a company who wants to employ you to carry out a search on you, but using it the right way, it helps in protecting your own integrity as well. Okay, so I would like to take some questions on the chat. I hope we're able to answer your questions, sir. Okay, Emmy was asking, how do you detect when a link designed to hack an account? What process do you employ? I'm not sure I really got your question very well. Mr. Emmy, you can react to your question. If I'm not mistaken, I think you probably meant how to detect maybe a phishing link, a link that is designed to hack an account. How do you detect it and what are the necessary process to take, right? Okay. Mr. Emmy, you can ask a question. You can unmute your mic.
Is it the Juju?
Oh, there's no signal. We're on an island.
Okay. Okay, he responded yes. Okay. When you are sent a link through mail or whatever means, we have a bunch of websites that you could pass those links to those websites, and it's going to be passing them, checking them through a database of phishing links that have been reported to know whether those links are actually phishing links. Example of those websites, we have VirusTotal. VirusTotal is an important website where you could just pass in a link and it could tell you whether this link is a phishing link. Nord Security also brought out a phishing link discovery, which you can, whatever link you get online, you could just copy this link and not clicking them to open, all right? Because a lot of hacks can be pulled by just clicking a link. So you could just click and hold, copy those links and paste it on any of these platforms. I would love to send you a bunch of them. I think I have written some over 10 of those links or more, which I can share. I'll find a way to share that to you, Mr. Emmanuel, and every other person who would love that. So you can use those links to protect yourself, because you can't stop phishing links from coming. Spams coming every day through different means, your WhatsApp, your Facebook, and you need to be sure of whatever you're clicking, even if the whole content looks legitimate. Because when we talk about phishing, we know that people could actually clone real sites using advanced tools and go beyond cloning, but also bind domains that are extremely similar. So for example, you have something like maybe jumia.com. You can see a person, instead of using the I in Jumia, he could use more like a capital letter L or L itself. in replace of the I. So all these things are deceitful ways that they can make you to click links you are not aware of. And because of you can't scrutinize most of this link personally, it's best to use most of these online platforms to help you detect whether they are phishing links or not. And most of them can give you references or comments people have made on concerning those links or reports they've made based on those links. Thank you so much. Okay, Idris Oba, you can ask your question. Mr. Idris Oba, you can ask your question, please. Okay. Your question is, how can cybercrime investigators identify IP address used for fraud? Okay, that is a huge one. How can cybercrime investigators identify IP addresses used for fraud? Okay, so generally, there are a lot of factors we consider during the aspect of cybercrime, because this moves a whole to a different level, I would say threat intelligence. If a crime is being carried out and the best you can do is to get the IP address, let's bear in mind that these days a lot of people are aware of VPN services. So VPN services helps max IP address, and don't forget that IP address just do as much as giving you geolocation. I would say approximate geolocation, which is not actually so perfect. So this is where, with just the IP address, you're able to get a little information. You can escalate your OSINT search to maybe whatever entities were used in this crime. Did they use a mail to pass this maybe link or phishing link? Did they use any header, any tiny information? You say in OSINT, we don't throw out even the most tiniest form of information. All of them can sum up to give us a very solid point of proof. So when you have things like an IP, I would say personally, an IP address is not just enough to pinpoint a crime. You want to know what other entities were involved in carrying this crime. Like, was it sent through an email? Was it an email threat? Was it a phishing link? Was it an hack, or was it a hack? And when we ask ourselves questions like, why was this hack pulled? Does this company that this hack was put against had competitors who would want them down? And all this information can make us to narrow down a large attack surface and try to narrow down them into a particular target, two targets that one can easily investigate. To my co-host, if you want to have something else to add to that, you can please go ahead. I don't know if I was able to answer at least a portion of your question, Mr. Idris. Okay, yeah, you said we find it difficult to identify the ISP and get necessary information of the owner or users of the IP address. Well, we have a lot of IP address to reverse IP addresses that just serve with the IP address. It can get you the geolocation, like the one my co-host staff mentioned. I have quite some other fews we use in the field, but let's not forget that if your attacker uses a VPN or hides his IP address, there is no way you can be able to possibly fake this information, except you begin to carry out some kind of mail server analysis. That is if the crime was taken through mail anyways. I hope I was able to answer your question. And if my co-hosts have something else to say, please be my guest.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Can I come in here?
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, my name is Idris Oba. Over the years, we have investigated lots of cases, but you know, there are some cases or email that comes into unsuspecting citizens, both in Nigeria and outside the country. When they send us this email address, there's a way we get the IP address that sends the emails. So what we do most times is identify the ISP of the IP, then we write to them. For instance, any of these telcos, like MTN, Airtel, Nine Mobile, Glo. So when we write to them, they give us the information or the biodata of the registrant of the IP. And you know, in some cases, when we use Wi-Fi, you might not really, when we pick the registrant of the IP, because there's a number attached to it. So when we pick them, in some cases, they might not be the real user of the IP to perpetrate the fraud. So at times, it might be someone else that possibly got a connection to the Wi-Fi. So, and also in the case whereby you get any of this Wi-Fi and with the help of the VPN, you go to the cloud and, you know, get another location outside your region. How do we identify all this? Because it gives us a lot of challenges investigating these cases. This is real-time investigation now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for your question, Mr. Idris. I really resonate with what you've said. And even these days, it's difficult to write to ISPs and then they address you or they respond to you because you need some level of pass. But these are things that has been a concern for most people or most of us in the threat intelligence aspect of cybersecurity. Most of the times, it still also depends on the kind of VPN. There are some kind of VPNs that they are easy. It's easy for one to actually run enumeration on your back end and be able to pinpoint some stuff because not all VPNs are really that secure. And these days, everybody really look into using free available VPN. So using paid VPN makes things really much difficult. But what we talk about is, like I still mentioned, because in an honest note, I feel IP addresses don't, I won't take them as primary entities to carry out for investigations or threat intelligence. I see them as secondary because IP address, if we tend to look at what's possibilities we can get from an IP address, geolocation, and of course, you mentioned writing to the ISPs. Now, mind you, IP addresses is network based. So if I happen to connect to a public Wi-Fi, I'll literally be having a different IP address. Or even if I connect to a person's hotspot, my IP address will be different than when I actually use my direct data or my data from my phone to carry out whatever crime. So these things narrow down to other level of information that you can gather aside just the IP. So the IP, I'd say, as secondary. It's secondary information. So what we'll now need to do is to gather other level of information. Like I mentioned, crimes are being carried out in different perspectives. The first thing I want to know is it a mail fraud? Was it a threat mail? Or was it a phishing campaign? Was it spear phishing? Was it a bank fraud? Now, when you know what kind of attack it is, there are other entities aside IP addresses we can get. And I can mention IP address secondary, we could use those entities as primary to carry out other level of OSINT and searches. And then topping up with the information we're able to gather from the IP address, we could still use it to narrow down our searches. I don't know if I'm able to touch a bit light of your questions or your concerns, sir, but there are actually more to it. Okay, do we have any more questions before we call it a day? Any more questions? Okay, if you have any questions, you could actually mail us at our mail, info@CYSEC.ng.
Hello, good evening.
Okay, good evening. You can go ahead with your question, sir.
Oh, great. My name is Amos Emmanuel. I'm actually, let me say I thank you for these deliberations. I think it's timely, and that well, the concern I tried to share here is that following the patterns of cybersecurity threats that is common, to perhaps almost every region, some clients have actually had to look at their digital policies around several aspects of tech, evolutions, so seriously that I'm sure as at last year within the pandemic, there is actually something like an AI for Europe. And sometimes we here in Africa, we actually leapfrogging, as we always do. And I think it's important that proper attention is given to what actually fits our culture, something like the AI for Africa. And these discussions becomes very relevant for people to see, particularly all the necessary concerns that could affect the vulnerable citizens in Africa and Nigeria, as we see, because here we were, most citizens became displaced when our Kabu Kabu driver got displaced by tech rights, and photographers no longer have jobs because we all became digital photographers. More citizens are actually at the mercy of tech, evolutions and things like that. And I think the more prepared we are to all the possible issues that can affect man, is it's actually very, very important. So this direction and what you're doing is important, at least to put that discourse in perspective amongst the citizens and people to get to learn more, get to even be part of the war, because this is actually real tech war. But more people, some are more aware than others, and some people are very likely to be victims of these advancements. So the concern now is that as regulators, we should know and get involved better. There should be this marriage of this knowledge with regulators so that this is actually put in proper perspective, so that it's better we plan better than the displacements that we probably will suffer as mankind. And that's why I feel what you are doing is very important. And I perhaps want to look at the digital policy details that you may have in the organization to see how this can really help in the long term, if my position is understood. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We really appreciate your contributions and all you've said. We really appreciate it, and we put every one of them into consideration. Thank you so much. I hope you all enjoyed the webinar so far, and I like the questions that came in, but would love to stay, but time is against us. So if you have any questions, you could go ahead and still mail us at our mail. I've dropped it on the chat box. It's called info@cysec.ng. info@cysec.ng. You could send us a mail. You can ask any cybersecurity related questions, and we will get you a response immediately. So thank you all for staying with us down to this moment. See you at the next webinar. And I hope you're able to learn something about OSINT and open source intelligence. For those of us who have indicated to receive the links that we could probably share to help protect you from phishing sites, we'll be sending that to you as well. Hopefully when we send you a mail concerning the video or containing the video we just recorded on this particular webinar session. Thank you all for coming once again. And I want to especially thank my co-hosts. Thank you so much. And we'll call it
Very
a day
much.
here.
Thank you very much, Mr. Precious. I really appreciate this. Thank you for this platform and giving us the opportunity to inform people. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome and thank you, sir.
Whoever put this together, we appreciate you. My name is Ambassador Roy, and I really enjoyed myself. Anytime you feel like having a free Zoom, you can contact me. I will tell my secretary to set up a meeting for you, unlimited. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. We really appreciate.
Ambassador Roy, good evening. How you doing, Ogami? I greet you.
I greet you, sir. Seriously, sir.
Well done, sir. It's been a while, sir.
Yeah, I'm back from US, sir. I'm in Nigeria, sir. Drinking Gary and enjoying myself.
Thank you. It was your information on the WhatsApp group I saw that I immediately logged on into this cyber security, but I came in late. Unfortunately, but
yes. When I saw it, I had to share it to relevant WhatsApp group, so that we can see what information sharing is key now. Anybody that has a platform can just go on there and populate people with the right information, and whoever wants to support should do so, because everybody will definitely need a support. But they are done for today, so maybe next one I will share it again if I get.
Okay, thank you so much for the sharing. If not that you shared, I wouldn't have known this. I appreciate you, and also appreciate the organizers for this webinar. Thank you. Bye for now.
Thank you, sir.
Special thanks to Ambassador, sir. Thank you for your contribution and thank you for the offer. Sir, please, we look forward to us bringing you one of these days or one of these months to bring forth, share ideas with us in the area of background and due diligence. That I'm very, very certain we're going to learn a lot from that as it relates to OSINT. So we hope and we know too well that all our participants are going to massively learn from that area on background and due diligence. A lot of times people carry out OSINT without actually knowing the details or gathering enough info and how they could actually use it in their day-to-day businesses. How can you carry out OSINT on, say, an employee before you offer an employment? How can you bring in full background diligence, even at an individual level, before bringing in a consultant at a more bigger or an enterprise scale engagement? So, sir, we look forward to having you on this platform to share with us a little on due diligence. Thank you for your support, and we hope it will continue, and we're grateful, sir. Thank you.
I appreciate you, sir. I served the country in the Nigerian Army. I'm a retired military personnel, and I'm currently the National Secretary for Retired Members of Nigerian Forces. So service to the country continues till the day we enter the ground. So whenever you need me, whatever time, just give me heads up. If you need my Zoom, just give me heads up. I'll set it up with my secretary and we'll game. I'm very grateful for this. I appreciate what you guys are doing. We all must come together. We must begin to populate our space with positive vibes so that we can help one another. We have no other country for now until we say each other goodbye legitimately. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate, and definitely we are very much open, and we look towards your guidance. We look towards your advice and ways on moving forward with all what we are doing, even though it's like a starting point. We know too well there's a lot we have to do for our dear nation, Nigeria. There are a lot of skill set out there which we are trying to harness, and it's an ongoing movement. We will continue to do our best, and we know too well with support from those ahead of us like you, it will be a seamless journey for every one of us. And of course, the primary aim of all of this engagement, of all of this advocacy, awareness, and publicity will actually be met. And we would have a nation with skilled individuals that can be deployed for our own protection, for our own economic growth, human resource growth and development. And definitely we will get to that point where we could actually say, yes, we've contributed our own little quarter in our own little way to the growth and development of our nation. We thank you so much, sir, and every other person whom have joined this meeting, whom have supported this engagement in one way or the other. We are so much grateful. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us today. It has been awesome, and I'm really glad to have this special team on board online at this hour. Thank you, sir.
All right, thanks to all who have contributed, and good night, everyone. Stop sharing now.
Got in your bag? When your heels for graduation. Good morning, guys. Guess what it is? It's my birthday. Where are these stripes coming from? Hey, Serena. Yeah? What you got in your bag? It's my new heels for graduation. Good morning.